Glenn, there is no room for science in music.
I fear you may be correct. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Friday. That means it's time for the weekend. Hope you're going to have an awesome one. I'm going to try to have an awesome one as well. If you've got comments, you got questions, you've got something you want to get off your chest, leave a comment below, and if it's cool, I'll try and put it on this show, SMG Viewers Comments, the show that's about you, not about me. Anyway, let's get the bullshit and get right to it.
Okay, I know you're thinking of doing a video again about a $1,500 home studio setup. It'd be really cool, rather interesting to see how inflation might have impacted the deals that once were. It's been a few years with some slight advancements in technology, such as the Tonex, but there's plenty of other equipment that goes into it. But the question is, could you spend $1,500 in 2023 and still have a decent budget setup? Thoughts?
Brandon, that's a phenomenal question. First off, that's a great suggestion for a video. So yes, that's going to go into the production pipe. I'm going to see what I can do. That's the thing, you know, great gear has come down in price. There's some really amazing stuff that's come along since I did that first $1,500 studio video. Notably studio monitors. The big thing holding back my initial review were the really shitty Mackie studio monitors. You got some Kelly LP8s back here that you can get the LP6s. Those are much better to work on than the shitty Mackies. That's for sure. And as far as Ampsons are concerned, the technology's gotten way better as well. Now, at the time I'm shooting this, I should have already had my 13 mistakes to avoid when recording with Ampson's video out, where I take a very close look at things. And I put together a parts list that costs under $1,000. So if you're just recording to your desktop, you might want to check that out. But I'm always concerned about recording real drums, so I'm going to see exactly what I can do, what sets of drum mics are out there for a really cheap budget, and see if we still can get away with only spending $1,500. Before even doing any research, I'm just going to take a wild guess. I'm going to say we might need 2,000 to record real drums. That's just me, though. I could be completely wrong. Make sure you're subscribed so you get updated when that video comes out, because I think that's a question that really needs to be answered. Thanks again, Brandon, for that amazing suggestion. I'll definitely get to work on that one.
Glenn, I'm a bassist who struggles with pain in the shoulder and hips, along with being a short dude with tiny hands, no pun intended. I live it. I've switched to short scale basses. It's amazing what can do when there is an instrument that fits their body/size. I was curious if you ever do a mixed comparison between, say, a fan fret, which have you, versus a short scale Spectre or Schecter. Mainly, I'm trying to prove that short scale bass can still rock in a metal context.
Man, you guys are knocking it out of the park with these episode suggestions. That's a phenomenal idea. I can ask Schecter to see if they can send me a short scale bass and see what we can do. I mean, like, I've got, you know, the traditional Fender Jazz long scale bass, and then of course I've got the fan fret Dingwall, which is an absolute beast as well. I think that's a question that really needs to be answered. I'll see if I can maybe get Keith Wilkinson in to help me out with that one, because he's just an incredible bass player. We can try a couple different in the mix things and see what we can get. If that's a video you guys want to see, let me know in the comments below, but it sounds like something that needs to be investigated. I think you've got a great point there about having the instrument fit the size of your body. Again, if you watch this week's video on how to record with Ampsons, that's one thing I mention and stress, is that it's very important you get yourself a comfortable guitar to play that you're going to be working with all day, because you're going to be in one position for many hours recording. It's very important you find something that works really well with your body type. I really like this one. This guitar was only $269 and it's freaking amazing. I can just sit here and play this thing all day. Comfort is a very important thing. Thanks for bringing that up, dude.
A few months ago, I posted on a Bugera forum about my 6262 6505 Plus clone being fizzy at the top end. I got a dozen comments about change the fuzzy stock tubes. I tried to argue the point that they wouldn't make a big difference, but it fell on deaf ears.
Wow, I am shocked!
What did help? I outfitted an old Line 6 Veticab with a pair of WGS Retro 30s and another pair of ET65s in an X pattern. Guess what? Fizz is gone. Amp kicks ass, and I don't need an EQ in the loop to tame the fizz anymore. Still has stock tubes. Sounds great. Speakers are tone.
Well, I'm glad the message is finally getting out. I mean, good for you, dude. Glad you upgraded the tone of your amp by just upgrading the speakers. Really, guys, it's not rocket science. If you want your guitar to sound better, maybe upgrade the thing that's making the sound. Just an idea anyway. But it just goes to show that how much bad information gets passed around on the internet. I mean, like when I was researching that Tony Iommi tone for the first record, you know, a million guitar players coming, oh, P90s, 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 P90s. No, it was a Goodman speaker mic'd with a 421. Unfortunately, we've got an impulse of that, so you can recreate that sound really fucking easily. Same thing with upgrading your tone. Just get a better speaker. You mentioned the WGS Retro 30s, phenomenal speakers. I absolutely love the WGS series of speakers. I've got a couple of more speaker episodes coming up. Ooh, check these out. I've had something come in just the other day, and I've never had this brand on the show before, Jensen, and these are the new Raptors. These are specifically designed for high gain metal tones, and they say they sound pretty amazing. I'm gonna drop these into a cabinet and mic them up and see exactly what they can do. And I've also got something in production right now. It's gonna be coming out in a few weeks, and that's gonna be taking a look at a whole bunch of different speakers that are really suited for metal tones that aren't made by Celestion. I think that's gonna be a really cool episode, definitely one worth checking out, and will hopefully help you guys forge your own path and get away from the standard cliche 57 vintage 30 sound that's just been done to death so much lately. It's a good sound, but it's time to expand our horizons, guys. Don't bring me the horizon, just expand it.
The very mild overdrive sound is the thing that makes the Klon Centaur so desirable, and it's all solid state.
No, the reason the Klon Centaur is so desirable is that somebody can get $5,000 for it, so all the collectors bought it and are still selling it for $5,000, whereas if you watch the JHS show, you can get the exact same result with a fucking bad monkey. The only reason the Klon Centaur is that desirable is guitar players are dumb and will pay that kind of money for it. But you're absolutely right. It is a solid state circuit. This goes back to last week's comment there about some guy, oh, well, you know, if you want that, you know, kissed by overdrive sound like Jerry Garcia or Chuck Berry, you have to have tubes. And that's why people pay $5,000 for a Klon Centaur. Oh, guitar players drive me fucking insane!
Glenn, would you recommend a better speaker for the Katana Mark 250? And if so, what speaker? Thanks.
Hey, Matt, fabulous question. I'm sure a lot of guys are curious about this. Now, as far as I know, and I could be wrong here, so somebody please correct me if I am, but I do believe that the speaker in the Katana is a full range speaker. Again, I'm just speculating here because I do believe the Katana is designed to run impulses. If I got this wrong, please somebody leave me a comment below. I haven't done a piece on a Katana in years. You know, I think I did one like four years ago, like when it first came out. It was a really impressive amp. Maybe I should get my hands on another one and try doing a couple of experiments. That's probably something worth investigating. So I'm going to give you a maybe on this. Maybe you don't want to upgrade your speaker. I could be completely wrong though. Guys, help me out. I need you to let me know.
I know we talk about getting good distorted tones, but why not tackle cleans? I mean, metal bands use cleans too.
Well, they're Diarrhea Splatter. Great screen name, by the way. At least you named yourself after what you eat. The thing with cleans, for me, it's never really been a big challenge. Getting a great clean sound's always been like super easy. It's pretty simple, actually. Just grab the best microphone you have, usually a nice large diaphragm condenser, throw it up in front of the cabinet, dial in your amp so it's clean. Boom, Bob's your uncle. You're done. That's all there is to it. Maybe add a little chorus and reverb to the sound. It's super easy to do. Getting the great distorted tones, getting the Clayman sounds, getting the ethereal mirror sounds, those are the challenge to me. I just can never get my head around those. Hey guys, real quick, this episode of Spectre Sound Studios has been sponsored by DistroKid, my favorite online music distribution service that I've been using since 2015. It's the one-stop shop to get your music online to all the major streaming sites like Apple Music, Amazon, Google Play, and Spotify, plus over 150 smaller online music retailers as well. It'll cost you a whopping $22.99 a year, and you keep 100% of your earnings. DistroKid also has lots of cool features like getting your project more followers on Spotify with the hyperfollow feature, or change your image on Apple Music and iTunes, plus adding credits and liner notes to stores and streaming services. You can now list musicians, contact info, social media profiles, and hundreds of other roles. And there's even a brand new mobile app that you can use to upload your music on the go, track your stats, and track your earnings as well. DistroKid also has a splits feature that allows you to pay your collaborators automatically by percentage so you can concentrate on making music instead of learning how to be an accountant. You can change the splits, add or remove collaborators at any time, and collaborators even get a 50% discount on their own DistroKid account too. There's 3 levels of plans available: Musician, Musician Plus, and even one for labels. I use DistroKid to put my music online, including this channel's theme song, The Eagles Landed, and even got a license through DistroKid for that cover of Moon on the Water that we did a while back. Go to distrokid.com/VIP/Spectre today and grab yourself a 7% discount on your first year. Follow the link in the description below. Now let's check out the Butthurt of the Week.
Every time you comment on guitar tone, you really should state that your idea of tone is an extremely narrow range of generic high gain mill. Because none of your advice makes sense for the 99.99% of guitarists that want more than that from their instrument.
99.99% don't want high gain distorted tones. You so sure about that? You know what? I'm guessing your statement on that is about as accurate as your claims that pickups make a massive difference in tone.
Quick question. Surely the speaker isn't a factor when recording through an interface, right? I don't understand why everyone uses amps for recording when there's just so many plugins out there that you can just record directly through an interface with the tightest tones possible. Is there any compelling reason to record from an amp beyond the additional tones that the amp creates?
Well, therein lies the $50 million question. I mean, like 10 years ago when I started this show, one of the first videos I did was Axe Effects versus The Real Deal. And back then, the Axe Effects still had a long way to go, in my opinion. These days, the amp modeling technology is getting very, very, very good. And especially there's even free ones coming out with the Neural Amp Modeler. You guys been begging me to do an episode on that at some point. And yes, I am investigating. It's in the production pipe. It's just, I've got just such a fucking massive backlog here. Guys, bear with me. It will happen. So for recording though, you've got literally hundreds or thousands of tones at your disposal. I don't know how much you really do need to record to a real tube amp these days, unless you're the guy who's actually creating the profiles or the impulse responses or anything like that. As a player, as a home desktop recorder, it's never been a better time to record your own stuff. Once again, please watch the video that just came out, 13 mistakes to avoid when recording with amp sims. And I show you how to avoid some very common pitfalls. And most of it revolves around the notion of stopping thinking like a guitar player and start thinking like an engineer.
The underestimation of speaker importance reminds me of the opinions on tires in the modified track car world. People will spend a fortune on a shiny exhaust or induction system, but run budget tires.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And once again, tires aren't exactly pretty. They're not glamorous. They're not shiny. So yeah, let's give that the least amount of attention. Meanwhile, that's probably one of the most important things. It's literally the part that's going to grip your car to the road. You'd think people would spend money on. Same thing with the speaker. It's behind a grill cloth, so we just don't think about it. Guitar players, once again, are really, really fucking dumb.
I know this channel is for high gain, but I would really like to see you test out Tonewood on acoustic and classical as well. It's something you could consider.
Yeah, you know, why the hell not? I mean, like, I've only got one acoustic in here, and I mean, like, it's a lava guitar that's made out of fiberglass. I've got a video coming up on that as well. Actually, it didn't mic up too bad at all. It sounded pretty nice. So, yeah, this is the thing, though. Nobody's really debating the thing about different woods having different tones in the acoustic realm. That's not a problem. I mean, I've shot out drums in here. They've got different sounds. I haven't done the acoustic thing, but I mean, like, yes, different wood does have different acoustic properties. That's been proven time and again. The big question is, does that apply to a solid body electric? And the answer there is a resounding, fuck no!
1124. On that note, I honestly feel that neodymium speakers are going to be the next frontier in guitar tone. I don't think the technology is maxed out yet, but I do think we had a pretty good start with the Neo Creambacks and Neo V-types. Is the Neo V30 next?
I don't know. That's a good question. I will tell you this, though. Neo speakers are more expensive to make. I've talked with several speaker manufacturers about that. And yes, the Neo magnets, although they're light, are a bit of a bitch to manufacture and definitely increase the cost. So it really comes down to the player. If, you know, the whole player demand thing, if there's a player demand and they're willing to pay the extra money for that, sure, why the hell not? But that's not always going to be the case. That being said, I've got a Blackstar cabinet and amp I need to bring up here and try doing some recordings with because it's got the special Neo speakers which are made specifically for this cab by Celestion. I don't know if they sound any good or not. It's definitely going to be worth taking a look at. I know the amp's pretty good. Speakers though, yeah, remains to be seen. Stay tuned for that one. Add that to the list of stuff I gotta get done.
You're so bang on about Traynor and their amps. Ignored for so long they can hang with some of the best vintage Marshall and Fender tones around. Heck, even their recent stuff is so underrated. My main setup is a Dark Horse 15 head and a vertical Traynor YBX 2x12 cabinet with vintage 30s. Got turned on to this when I saw Patrick from Sloan. All his main live rig wise was 2 of those heads into 4 Traynor 4x12s. With his pedal setup, holy shit, did it sound great. Bought the head used for $350 and the cab brand new 8 years ago and they were at $515. Now head currently retails for $799 and the exact same cab is now $1099. I know inflation has accounted for some of this increase, but I'm betting the demand has increased too. But this setup is still way cheaper than almost all the big name stuff and sounds as good, if not better. Plus, Traynor still manufactures all their stuff in Canada.
Yeah, plus one for the Traynor stuff. It really is quite magnificent, especially into, say, maybe a little less metal, a little bit more of the hard rock stuff or stoner rock. Go dig up an old vintage Traynor YB1A. They made tons of them. They're cheap. They're all hand-wired point to point. I got mine for like $50. And it's basically, they call it the Canadian Plexi. It is an absolute monster. It's a little lopsided when you carry it because you got this giant transformer on one side. But yeah, the thing's a lot. It's only 40 watts. And it's the loudest fucking amp in my collection. Holy fuck is it loud. Really, really, really top quality stuff. Traynor tube heads are really second to none. If you're in the market for something used and awesome and maybe a little bit off the beaten path, definitely check out some Traynor stuff. It's really fun. It's really great.
If speakers don't matter, why is there millions of IRs with different speakers? Wouldn't one set do the job?
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell my friends, all who own universal aux boxes. Oh, and by the way, if you want tens of thousands of IRs, check out Spectre Digital's Prism pre-release. Sign up link is below. It's definitely worth checking out if you really want to expand your tones and get a little bit of everything. Trust me, guys, this one's going to be fun.
Hey Glenn, as a producer who's worked with musicians of many backgrounds, what are your thoughts on learning to play other instruments besides the ones you play in your band to learn a different way to write songs and delay burnout?
Start taking piano lessons. Seriously.
Truly genuine question. I'm totally on board with the speaker changing the tone the most. My question is, where do EQ pedals come into play in your opinion? Or is it something that's better handled in post?
Well, EQs can do some stuff. I mean, like, it really depends on where it is in relation to the distortion. Watch Jim Lill's video about where sound comes in a guitar amp. He'll tell you the exact same thing. The real differences you're hearing are where the EQ is in relation to the gain. If you put the EQ before the amp, you're going to get a little bit of a shift. You put it in the effects loop, you're going to get a lot of a shift. The only problem is EQs can be a little bit noisy, so you got to be careful about which one you're using and how much you're applying, that sort of thing. And yeah, you can use a lot of post. I mean, you take a look at, say, the Master of Puppets tone, or better yet, the Ride of the Lightning tone. There's a lot of 8K boost going on in that sound. There's a Tonex patch for that kicking around. You can just see they added all this fucking super top end on it, and it works like a champ. Sounds horrible on its own. Dropping in with some drums and bass, though, and holy fuck, it really does the thing. So yes, EQs definitely have a place, but again, sometimes it's better used in post rather than applied right to the tone. That way you don't tear your ears off.
Glenn, thanks for everything on this channel. You have really saved me a lot of money and turned my attention to stuff that actually matters. Much appreciated. Any predictions on future gear software or types, directions of technology we haven't seen yet, or something on the horizon you might predict to be huge? You rock. Greetings from Denmark.
You know, I actually got quoted in EQ magazine back in like 2001, 2002, something like that, about the future of the studio. And I was talking about a VR mixing system where we could just, put on a set of goggles and then just grab things and start moving stuff around and whatnot. Looks like Apple just released some information on their new upcoming VR headset. And who knows, maybe somebody might make a DAW for that takes advantage of that. I think that'd be really fucking cool. And just like get away from the desk and just have a set of monitors sitting there and a set of goggles that you can just grab virtual faders and move stuff around and do all your edits by hand and basically have a multifunction touchscreen that's just hanging there virtually. I think that'd be really fucking awesome. That's what I would love to see. Hopefully that would help speed up the workflow. Remains to be seen whether or not anybody's going to develop that technology, and it remains to be seen if we as home studio engineers would actually adapt that technology. Exciting times nonetheless, to say the least. If you guys got something you think would be cool to see in, say, the future of audio software, share it with me below. Maybe we can do a little poll on that, or maybe we can do a dedicated episode on that, on the future of audio production, what you guys think is going to happen, what I think is going to happen. That might be a lot of fun. As always, I love hearing from you guys, so please leave a comment, leave a question. I love answering your questions, and I love hearing from you. Once again, thanks to DistroKid for sponsoring this episode. They fucking rock. If you want to get your music out to the world, DistroKid is definitely the way to do it. It's the system I use, and I've been using them for years. They're just awesome people. Anyway, you guys have yourselves an amazing weekend. Now get out there, and let's make some great music together.